back here with us on Overdrive. Now, the BSA Roadster 650 has finally made it to India. But does it make sense owning the largest single-cylinder retro-themed Roadster motorcycle out here today? Let's find out.
As always, history and heritage go hand in hand. Now, history tells us about hardships and certain struggles that we've learned from the past. It shows us where we've come from before and what we have come to today. And in terms of heritage, well, that shows us the different values that we hold true, that we like to carry forward to generations in the future. And especially when you consider a motorcycle brand like BSA, in terms of history and heritage, well, the company is rich in those two very aspects. So in terms of design of this new Goldstar 650, you might have heard a lot of talk about this new motorcycle trying to mimic, well, the design and aspirational values of the older generation of motorcycles. And for your visual delight, I have with me out here today a 1959 DBD 34. And as you can see, in really pristine condition in terms of design, how similar they actually are.
The color scheme of this new Legends Edition model is quite similar to what you had in the bikes of old. The sizable fenders on both ends, particularly the holdings on the rear, look quite similar. So does the round halogen headlamp, the front suspension with the fog covers. I love the twin pod readout that's modelled after the old Smith styles, and although it's a lovely old school touch, I'm not particularly a fan of the way these new needles move about. While the old bikes had a headlight mounted ammeter, you now have a small circular display which shows you all the warning and indication lights, which is neat touch indeed. And it doesn't end just there. They've also tried to replicate the old engine side casings, which are a good throwback to the Goldies of a bygone era. I also think that the 150 section tyre on the 17 at the rear adds some much desired drawn to the rear of the bike as well. Overall, I find the new bike to be extremely neat and tidy.
Now, even in the past, these BSA motorcycles were known for their precise machine bits and, of course, their long-stroke single-cylinder engines. Outcome, well, civilians are going to go racing, and that paved the way for a lot of aftermarket bits, race kits, and the like. Now, this motorcycle stays true in that real tradition because this single-cylinder 650cc engine, it produces 45 PS of max power, 55 Nm of max torque, and above 3,500 RPM, this thing just wants to fly. While the motorcycle might look to be a lazy cruiser style motorcycle, well, it really proves otherwise. Above 3000 RPM, it just wants to take off, and it's really entertaining and good fun out on the road.
The old BSA Goldstars were mighty fast back in the day. I mean, speed had pretty much everything to do with the name Goldstar in the first place. It all began with a British motorcycle racer named Walter Hanley earning himself a Brooklyn's Gold Star Award by lapping the pioneering Bank circuit in Surrey with a top speed of 107 miles per hour astride a 500cc BSA Empire Star back in 1937. Now, BSA drew inspiration from this outstanding achievement and came out with its first M24 Gold Star model the following year. So, every Gold Star model that came out from that point on had to be capable of achieving, if anything, that feat at least. In true old school fashion, there's some lovely vibes to be felt with this one, and it'll only get a bit bothersome once you cross the 130 kmph mark. But the way this bike pulls from low down the power band is just awesome. There's a lovely wave of city speeds in third gear. Even though there's just 5 gears on this Goldie, you won't really miss 6th with the way things are laid out. You'll be cruising at 80 km per hour at around 3000 RPM in 5th, which is a complete vibe. Or even 100 km per hour at 4000 RPM, the bike feels like it's just getting started if you're ready to throw down the gauntlet.
Now, to conclude matters, the BSA Goldstar that we have out here today, the 650, well, it is a brilliant transition from the old legacy motorcycles, the old motorcycles down to the new generation. The Mahindra Group, a Classic Legends, has done a spectacular job because this is a high quality machine that still maintains a good amount of pace, precision, and, well, beauty.
With that, it's a wrap on this week's edition of Overdrive. But remember, you can stay in touch with the team through our various social media platforms, and you can write to us on YouTube as well. We'll see you next week. Until then, drive and ride safe.